Mr. Tuttle.
Hey, Jason.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Want to talk about standards.
Best thing to
Pen
talk
and
about.
pen and paper, the book.
The ugly, outdated, terrible, ugly binder
The
book.
binder. The binder,
Yeah.
yeah. The binder. Yes, the hated binder that is everywhere. Um, so you have standards management software to get rid of that binder. But why don't you articulate for us, what problem you set out to solve with Yipy?
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. As we have really dug into Yipy and understood what our hoteliers dealing with when it comes to standards. And it's kind of like it's really been that string on a sweater that you just start pulling on and then realizing it all just unravels and it just turns into a giant mess. And when you look at a hotel, especially a hotel that may be of a full service or maybe belongs to a management portfolio, and you look at the operators trying to run those operations, it you quickly see how inundated they are with sloppily managed standards. And I don't mean that as a criticism to the hotelier. I mean that as a criticism to our industry, in that all of the what happens in our industry is operators are handed from siloed sections of the industry various standards that are critically important to comply with, right? And when we're talking, here's our brand standards, right? And the brand, if you're operating a brand, hand those to you. And then the health department comes in and says, hey, here's these standards, and you have to abide by these. And if you don't, guess what? You can be as nice as you want and have the best Google reviews, but you're going to get shut down. And then you may have accolades like AAA or American Express, leading hotels, any of these. And what's happening is at no point in time are any of these standard suppliers, for lack of a better word, communicating with each other, and they are just handing them to their hoteliers, saying, gosh, you've got to be compliant to these things, and we're going to come audit you, and those huge ramifications if we find that you're not in compliance. And all hoteliers have been able to do is take those standards, print them out, and slap them in a binder, and say, here's our standards. And there's no organization, there's no congruency, there's no true understanding of what are the expectations and how do they align, not only in function, but also how do they align across the hotel. Where do we have alignment, and where do we have targeted specifics? And without standards management, without a software to keep that straight, it's truly nearly impossible.
So, management, huge problem.
No.
You created software. Describe your solution for us.
Yeah. So what Yipy does is, first and foremost, we provide one digital hub for all of an organization's standards, right? So whether that be you're operating at a single property level, or you've got multiple brands across an entire collection or portfolio, we have one library where you're able to import all of those standards. And again, that includes those brand standards, the accolades, requirements, local county jurisdictions, government requirements. And from there, in Yipy, you're able to create essentially a digital SOP that not only defines what certain expectations are, built upon these standards and expectations that have been set, but also the ability to audit them and inspect them, and have leaders go back and provide critical eyes to make sure that those expectations are being met, that the staff understands them, and that they're able to execute well. And as they do that, they're able to collect data, which then feeds into our aggregated reports that can help start telling a story over time that hoteliers can learn to follow and learn to understand. Where do we need to get better? Where do we need to praise, right? What equipment maybe needs our attention? Where does our capital need to be spent, both in maybe training or refurbishment? Or perhaps we find an area of that aligns really well with our ability to execute, and that aligns really well with our guest satisfaction scores. And so we know that maybe we need to build this program out even further and enhance offerings. And so what Yipy really targets is not only helping organizations and hotels define their expectations, but also align their teams around that, and then refine their operation through meaningful reports and insights to really make sure that they're operating the best hotel or property that they can.
I know there's other software that hotels try to use to
Yeah.
manage this. How are you guys different?
Yeah, like
You're laughing.
I was a hotelier using that other software,
Okay,
right?
there you go.
And it was, but before my life here with Yipy, I was a hotel operator. Worked at Four Seasons, bounced around, went to various properties. I worked for other hotels. I was a consultant within the industry for 7 years, and there I had a really broad understanding of the tools and systems that are being used to try to solve this problem. And what we found is there are what I called, sales features within various products that attempted to offer this, right? And really what it comes down to is they offer a checklist that says, hey, we'll build a checklist and you can go then say, was that checklist done? And that really stems to be, looks to be the end of it. So, all right, so that's where it stops. And as you look to it, there's three things that people are using. Either A, they're using the best technology that was invented by the Egyptians of pen and paper, that is still being used throughout the industry, and it is the main technology being used to capture standards and performance measurements. Others are using technology that was built for other things, right? Like they're using checklist software, or they're even using software that's designed to enter tickets, right, or requests. But those don't meet the needs of actually managing standards, of actually being able to aggregate that data and be able to move forward. And so if there's a desire to actually run efficiently and get the information that you need in order to accomplish all those tasks, you need standards management.
Results. What kind of results are your hotels getting?
This has been the best part of doing what I do. Is we found a problem and we said, I think we can solve it. And as we've delivered standards management, our primary result that we were hoping to deliver was a more aligned organization that allows hotels to feel like they can be more productive, right? That they are better at their operation. And what we have found is, as hoteliers have started to adopt this, not only have their onboarding um, styles and techniques and I guess like the way they onboard, it's changed drastically. Right now, it's not this long onboarding process. They're able to say, here, welcome to the team. Here's your standards, and we can get right to training off of it, right through here. We're seeing a huge correlation in, as hotels have really buckled down and audited their standards and defined their standards and helped train their standards, the amazing impact that it's having on the guest survey scores, right? The guests are every property that is tracking it is seeing increased scores. And I don't mean that as like a marketing plug. Every property that has adopted Yipy is seeing increased service scores, that's adopting it, throughout their industry, which is amazing. And then we're also just seeing productivity levels go up. We're seeing accountability and better communication between senior and mid-level managers, cutting out all the BS of trying to trying to make yourself look good. With data, we get right to the facts of, here's our areas of celebration, here's our areas of weakness. And that's helping organizations run smoother. It's helping leaders become more connected and actually be able to solve problems that they're facing in the operation. And the last one, that's the best part for me, that I love, is that employees are finally getting feedback and feeling confident in the roles that they're assigned to do. And one of the best conversations that I've had so far, and I think that this is the best win so far that I've had with Yipy, was I was talking one-on-one with a front desk agent, and they said, for the first time, I know what's expected of me. Before this, I felt like I was guessing or doing my best attempt to do it. But now I know, and I know exactly where I can get better. And I just think that that's such a win, and I'm really proud of that for us at Yipy to be able to provide that.
I talk to a lot of software companies.
Yeah.
This is by far the biggest no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
I hope so.
Well, thank you for joining me, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thank you for joining me, Adam. This is really good stuff, and we look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me on. This is wonderful.
You bet.